Hi, folks. Here's a little reading I have done for you all here on Instagram um, in regards to what the universe wants to show you for, or I asked right now, but it's sort of for the next week. I've called it a world reading, but only a handful of people will probably see this video. So, um, I'll share what I've received. So the first image we received was a hand kind of coming out of the ground with grabbing hold of um, this handle here, and the ground around it was jungle, and I just immediately, and the word or the name Amazon came to mind. So I ventured on, and I then saw this being coming from the sky with hands that looked like they were trying to emulate snakes or um, uh, shells, clamshells, something, and the face kind of had these strands of light, and it was quite sun-like, the face. So, uh, interesting being. I had not seen this particular being before. But I have, worked with, Mayan and also Aztec civilizations and archetypal energies and past lives and all that sort of thing before, but not like this. This was different. And it was quite. Also knew it was quite shamanic as well. That hand. So anyway, I then saw an elliptical shaped, like looked like a large sort of boulder, but I could tell it used to be an old sculpture. Like it looked like an old sculpture of a head kind of lying down on the ground, and from this head came an equally sort of egg-shaped and luminous ball, and in a similar shape to the face of that, strange snake or shell-handed being from the sky. And again, this was in overgrown, thick, densely overgrown jungle. And so I then the next image I received, I just repeated the question, what do you want to show the world, next or right now? And then I saw this strange being in an extremely large form and a snake. Serpent, so it was very much like this, Amazonian python, um, and it wasn't archetypal, or at least it was very site-specific entity, and it was in my studio, and I was I'm entirely unnerved by these visions that uh, show themselves to me. And interestingly, like they always manage to fit into some fairly, at least modest, scaled um, spaces. So, like these can be people's, light being guides, or uh, you know, sometimes dragons, sometimes uh, animal totems, you name it. Thousands of people who they've had other lives. Anyway, I digress. So, anyway, these two large Amazonian energy beings were in this space while I was conducting this reading for you all. And the following image was like this figure had been animated inside a temple that was clearly overgrown. This wasn't, an archaeological dig site or something that has been discovered yet. I could just see light coming from a couple of openings in the background. I'll show you the drawing. So there's the drawing of the large being and the serpent, and there's little old mate, and there's this large being with an axe. And so it was like, I don't want to say a robot, but it was more like a sentinel, or like some kind of quite ornately decorated and pieced together stone warrior with this head of light, being the animating force, and holding an axe. So it was some sort of warrior or protective spirit of the temple, and walking over and thrusting both of its hands into the temple. Well, I won't say wall, but it's certainly a structure connected into the wall and into this temple. And then upon this being doing that, it you know what it sort of reminded me of? Like the although it wasn't Chinese, the clay stone warriors that are meant to help at the time emperor come into the new world, or his next life with this vast army, something like that. But in the next image, the top of a temple was being opened up, and by the snake-handed figure, or the clam-handed figure, with the sun-like head and this very large accompanying Amazonian snake. And that activated something else. So it was like the hands thrusted in, the top of a pyramid-like structure opened up, and then this got I thought I was seeing an all-seeing eye, or a third eye, a large third eye awakening from the sight, but it wasn't. Like the iris around it had these I want to say these metal, or like a spinning axis, and it was creating this gravitational force, and it felt like it was being transported into a moon or another planet, this whole sequence of events was opening up this gateway that hasn't been open for, possibly a couple of thousand years. And I say a couple of thousand years because I googled around the Amazon, and there's this site called Monte Grande. My pronunciation, I guarantee, is inaccurate. And it. And yeah, it was a site that they were very. Like they don't know a lot about it, and they don't, like they said there was millions of people living here. Anyway, I'll get to my final image, and in the final image I saw this vast head-like ball of light coming from the top of a more cone shape or circular temple, and but it was overlooking what looked like the suburbs, or certainly sort of a vast civilization, or like civilization, more urban development, and like, because I thought, oh my god, this looks like somewhere out in the desert. It doesn't, but it still felt like the same place. So maybe it was the Amazon in the past, and or maybe it's the present. I do not know. But whatever the case, the universe wanted to share with you all the activation of this, ancient civilization that we know quite little about. So if you're interested in at least what I googled, or have a sense of these, older shamanic energies being awakened and connecting with another planet, or perhaps the moon, because I wasn't the other realm or planet that this system was connected to didn't look like it was flourishing with life. It looked still and moon-like. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I will no doubt see you next week in some way, shape or form. Okay, cheers, bye.